So picture this, the final whistle blows, you're walking off the pitch. Maybe it wasn't your best game. Maybe your passes were off or your focus slipped. Maybe your performance just didn't reflect your potential. Now, in moments like this, where does your mind go? Do you point fingers? Do you blame the pitch, the referee, or maybe the tactics? Or do you look inwards, knowing that it is you that holds the key to every outcome in your game? Because taking 100% responsibility is where true success begins, and it is the foundation of a champion's mindset. Now, it is easy to find excuses when things don't go your way on the field. It is human nature to deflect blame, especially when in high-pressure environments like football. But the harsh truth is this: every time that you shift this blame, you're giving away the power to improve. You are going to be handing control of your game to external factors instead of owning it. Now think about it. How many times have you blamed the pitch for a bad first touch? Or maybe you felt frustrated by a teammate's mistake instead of focusing on what you could have done differently. Now, these excuses might offer short-term comfort, but in the long run, they only hold you back. But here's the thing. What if you flip this mindset? What if you could take complete control of your performance regardless of the circumstances? Now, by taking 100% responsibility, you are going to stop relying on luck or the mercy of outside forces. Instead, you're going to be building a foundation where every action, every decision, and every result is a reflection of your effort and your focus. And here's the best part. That shift in mentality not only changes your performance, but it also rewires your brain to condition you for success. Now, let me explain this power of ownership. Now, responsibility starts in your mind, and more specifically, in a part of your brain called the prefrontal cortex. This is the area that is responsible for decision making. It's also responsible for self-control and for focus. Now, when you take ownership of your performance, you activate the prefrontal cortex, and this then helps you to make better decisions both on and off the field. Now, there's a science behind this, because when you actively choose to take responsibility, your brain releases dopamine, and this is a chemical that rewards behavior. Now, this dopamine hit reinforces the belief that you have control, and this will motivate you to take more positive actions. So it becomes a cycle. The more responsibility that you take, the more control that you feel, and then the better that you perform. And because of this, the more responsibility you take, the more control you feel, and the better you perform. Over and over again, getting stronger and stronger and wiring this into your brain. So let's take a look at focusing on what you can control. Now, football, like life, is full of variables. You cannot control the weather, the crowd, or even the decisions that the referee makes. But what you can control is your preparation. You can control your effort, what you focus on, your mindset. Now, let's break this down. Your brain operates like a filtering system, and at the heart of this is your reticular activating system, the RAS, the RAS. Now, this RAS filters out unnecessary information, and it helps you to focus on what matters. Now, when you decide to focus on what you can control, so your training, your recovery, your mentality, what you choose to focus on, what happens now is the RAS helps you to zone in on these aspects, and it shuts out other distractions. This will sharpen your focus and enhance your ability to execute under pressure. So when things go wrong, instead of complaining about what's outside of your control, redirect your focus to the things that you can influence. Every training session, every meal you eat, every night's sleep, all of this is in your hands. Owning these elements leads to better performance on the football field. And next, we rewire your brain for success. Now, here's something that every elite footballer understands. Their brain is malleable, meaning it can be trained just like a muscle. Now, this is called neuroplasticity, and it is your brain's ability to reorganize itself by forming new neural connections throughout your brain. Now, when you choose to take responsibility for your performances, you're actually rewiring your brain for success. Every time you reflect on a game and ask yourself, what could I have done better? You are strengthening the neural pathways that are responsible for growth and improvement. Now, these pathways are like highways in your brain. The more that you use them, the more that you condition yourself to thinking and operating in these certain ways. And then the faster and the more automatic your responses become. And neuroscientists have found that athletes who consistently reflect and take ownership of their development have a greater activation in the hippocampus. This is the part of the brain that is responsible for learning and memory. So this actually means that they don't just hope they get better, they systematically improve because their brain is wired for it. And the more that you practice this mental habit, the more you train your brain to expect and achieve success. Now, let me tell you a story from a player that I worked with, a defender in one of the toughest leagues in the world. Now, early in his career, he struggled to keep up with fast strikers. After every game, he would point to the same excuse. They're quicker than me and I cannot do anything about it. But the truth was, his focus and his mind was holding him back. He wasn't taking ownership of the situation. And what we did was we worked together to shift his mindset. Instead of focusing on the speed that he didn't have, he focused on what he could control. His positioning, his anticipation, his recovery runs. Once he took responsibility for these aspects, everything changed. He improved his game, not because he became faster, but because he used his brain to compensate. He stopped blaming external factors and he began owning his role. And today, he's one of the most reliable defenders in his team and the league. And obviously not because he's the quickest, but because he's used his intelligence. So, no more excuses. Take charge of every moment. Now, when you do indeed take full responsibility, excuses lose their power. Excuses are mental shortcuts that prevent growth. They may offer temporary relief, but in the long run, they rob you of progress. Now think about it. When you blame the coach for not giving you enough playing time, you're telling your brain that your success is out of your hands. Your brain's limbic system, the emotional center, begins to associate challenge with stress and not an opportunity. But when you say, I'm going to make every minute count, whether I'm starting or whether I'm coming off the bench, you're doing now is you're rewiring this same system to view challenges as opportunities for growth. So let's bring this all together now. Taking 100% responsibility for your performance means engaging your prefrontal cortex to make better decisions, using your RAS to focus on controllables and ignore distractions, rewiring your brain through neuroplasticity to expect success, strengthening your hippocampus by reflecting and learning from every game. Now, when you stop making excuses and you start owning your performances, you activate parts of your brain that drive this motivation, this focus, this growth. You are priming yourself for brilliance. So right now, I want you to think about your last game. What went wrong? And instead of blaming external factors, ask yourself, what could I have done differently? Now share it in the comments below. Remember, growth begins with taking full responsibility, and that is the first step to unlocking your full potential as a football player. And if you're ready now to stop making excuses and to take full control of your performances, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell. And for those looking to go even deeper, check out the guided visualizations on my channel. These are guided visualizations that you can come back to time and time again to condition these improvements into your game, literally rewiring your brain for success.